You know that feeling when you walk into a hotel lobby, that seamless, almost magical experience at the front desk? Well, it's not magic. Behind that warm personal welcome is a hidden script, a super detailed procedure that turns a simple check-in into a perfectly timed performance. And today, we're going to break it all down. Seriously, have you ever been standing there watching the front desk officer and thought, wow, this is really smooth, almost too smooth? Well, your gut feeling is spot on. It really is a play. And we're about to pull back the curtain and show you the script, the cues, and all the stage directions that they follow to a T.
Okay, so it all picks off with that first impression, and you won't believe the pressure they're under. The clock literally starts ticking the second you walk up to that desk. The industry has this down to a science.
30 seconds, that's it. 30. Before you even have a chance to set your bags down, the rule book says they have to acknowledge you. It could be a smile, a nod, or a quick, "I'll be right with you, sir." It's the very first move in the playbook, and it's all about making you feel seen and important before anything else even happens. So what happens in those crucial first moments? Well, it's a simple three-step formula. First, you get that acknowledgement we just talked about. Then, if they know you're coming, they'll hit you with a "Welcome, Mr. Smith." And finally, the offer of a welcome drink. It feels like genuine, spontaneous hospitality, right? And it is, but it's hospitality that's delivered through a very precise, very repeatable process. All right, now we get into the main event, the check-in itself. And this is so much more than just a conversation. Think of it as a carefully choreographed dance where every single detail, from the words they choose to the pen you sign with, is totally planned out.
And get this, the script is so specific, it even tells them how many times to say your name. I mean, think about the psychology of that for a second. If they say it just once, it might feel a little impersonal. But 4 or 5 times, that starts to sound unnatural, maybe even a little weird. So the procedure says 2 to 3 times. That's the sweet spot for building a connection without it feeling forced.
Have you ever noticed they always hand you a pen with the hotel's logo? Yeah, that is absolutely not an accident. The rules explicitly say no personal pens. Why? It's all about brand consistency. Every single thing, from the front desk uniform to the pen in your hand, has to reinforce the hotel's image. It's all part of the show. This part is fascinating. The script isn't just one size fits all. It actually splits into 2 different paths depending on who you are. If you have a reservation, the process is all about verification. They're just confirming details that are already in the system. But if you're a walk-in, the front desk officer instantly switches roles from a clerk to a salesperson. They're negotiating your stay, quoting rates, and closing a deal right there on the spot. 2 totally different guests mean 2 totally different scripts. Now, this might be one of the most important and clever rules in the whole script. Yelling your room number across the lobby, that's a huge security no-no. Anyone could overhear it. So instead, they discreetly point to it on the card. It's a simple move that protects your privacy and your safety, and most of us never even notice it's happening. Okay, let's talk about money. You know, the part of the transaction that can get a little awkward. Well, the script has that covered too, with unspoken rules that are all about being discreet. This script leaves absolutely nothing up for debate, especially when it comes to extra charges. Thinking about having a friend crash in your room? There's a specific line for that in the procedure. It's a $30 charge per night. It's all standardized, so there's no awkward haggling at the desk. And then, of course, there's the security deposit. The script calls for a minimum of $50 a night, just to cover any extras you might enjoy. This isn't up for discussion. It's just another required step. It's the hotel's way of making sure they're covered if you decide to, raid the entire minibar. Just like your room number, the price you paid is treated like top secret information. The rate is always pointed to, never ever spoken aloud. This is all about your privacy, especially if you're traveling with your boss, your family, or a new date. It's a tiny gesture of discretion that actually makes a huge difference. So, what happens when the show hits a snag? When real life messes with the perfect script. Well, guess what? There's a script for that too. It's called service recovery. It's the moment every traveler dreads. You're exhausted from your trip, you finally make it to the hotel, and you hear those 5 fateful words. Your room isn't quite ready. It feels like a total failure, right? But for the hotel staff, it's just a cue to flip to a different page in the playbook. And that backup plan is incredibly systematic. The second they know your room isn't ready, a whole new script kicks in. First, they offer to store your luggage securely. Then they basically give you the keys to the kingdom. You can use the gym, the pool, grab a coffee. You get free Wi-Fi, of course. And if that delay stretches past the official 3 p.m. check-in, the procedure says offer complimentary drinks. The whole goal is to take a bad situation and, by following a clear, pre-planned script, turn it into a surprisingly positive experience. So we've gone through the opening act, the detailed choreography, how they handle the money, and even the emergency plan. Now let's get to the grand finale, the one final, truly impressive rule that governs this whole performance. 5 minutes. That's the goal. From that first 30-second hello to the moment they hand you your keys and say, enjoy your stay, this whole complicated, psychologically tuned, security-focused dance is designed to take just 300 seconds. It's just amazing when you think about the efficiency of a script that's been perfected over thousands and thousands of guest interactions. So the next time you're checking into a hotel, you'll be in on the secret. You'll see the steps, you'll hear the lines from the script. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When a perfect, warm welcome is this engineered, this planned out, is it an art or is it a science? What do you think?